There was a time when Sunday mornings sounded different. No delivery trucks rumbling down main streets. No cash registers chiming. No shopping carts rolling across parking lots. The commercial world simply stopped, creating a weekly silence that settled over American towns like snow. Stores displayed handwritten signs in their windows, "Closed Sundays." Simple words that shaped an entire day of the week, influencing how families planned their lives, how communities organized their time, how commerce respected boundaries that seemed natural and permanent. The signs appeared on every kind of business: grocery stores, department stores, hardware stores, clothing shops, bookstores, five and dimes. Even car dealerships would chain their gates shut and post notices about Monday morning reopening times. Sunday belonged to something other than buying and selling. Children absorbed this rhythm without questioning it. Sunday meant churches and family dinners and long afternoons with nothing to buy, nowhere to shop. No errands that required leaving the house, except for emergencies or entertainment. They learned that some days the adult world of commerce paused, creating space for different kinds of time. Saturday shopping took on special importance because of Sunday closures. Families developed elaborate weekend routines that compressed all necessary purchasing into Saturday hours. Grocery shopping, department store browsing, hardware store visits, prescription pickups, everything had to be accomplished before Sunday morning arrived. Saturday afternoon, traffic patterns reflected this compression of commercial activity. Main streets would be busy until early evening as families completed their weekly shopping rounds. Parking lots stayed full later than on weekdays as people checked items off lists that couldn't be delayed until Monday. Milk and bread purchases required careful planning. Running out of essentials on Sunday meant going without or borrowing from neighbors. Families learned to anticipate their needs, to stock up on items that might be required before Monday morning. The closed stores created natural lessons in preparation and foresight. Children's allowance spending had to be timed around Sunday closures. Toy stores, candy shops, comic book stands, all the destinations of childhood commerce were unavailable on Sundays. Children learned to make their purchases on Saturday or wait until Monday afternoon, developing patience around their consumer desires. Gas stations presented interesting exceptions to Sunday closing rules. Many communities allowed gas stations to operate on Sundays, recognizing that automobile travel might create genuine emergencies that required fuel. But even these exceptions often came with restrictions. No repairs, no tire changes, just fuel sales and basic services. Restaurants also operated under different Sunday rules. Some communities allowed restaurants to serve food on Sundays while prohibiting retail sales. Others required restaurants to close during church hours, but allowed them to open for evening meals. These varying interpretations of Sunday commerce created complex local customs. Pharmacies in some communities received special permission to open for limited Sunday hours, acknowledging that medical needs couldn't always wait until Monday. But these pharmacy hours were typically brief, perhaps 2 hours in the afternoon, and focused strictly on prescription dispensing rather than general merchandise sales. Ice cream trucks and vendors operated in a gray area of Sunday commerce. Mobile food vendors might be permitted to serve residential neighborhoods while fixed. Location businesses remained closed. Children would wait for the distinctive musical announcements that indicated Sunday treats were available despite store closures. Sunday morning walks through commercial districts revealed the quiet that came with closed businesses. Main streets that bustled with activity 6 days a week would be nearly empty except for people walking to and from churches. Parking spaces that were impossible to find on Saturday would remain vacant all day Sunday. Store windows became more prominent on Sundays, when foot traffic was reduced. Without the distraction of open doors and busy sales floors, window displays received more attention from the few Sunday pedestrians. Merchants learned to create window presentations that would attract Monday shoppers during Sunday window shopping. Emergency Sunday shopping created neighborhood networks of borrowing and sharing. Families who discovered they needed eggs for Sunday breakfast might knock on neighbors' doors rather than driving to distant gas stations or convenience stores. These interactions strengthened community connections that commercial convenience might otherwise weaken. Bank closures on Sundays were absolute, creating financial boundaries that influenced weekend activities. ATMs didn't exist during the height of Sunday store closures, which meant that people needed to obtain cash for weekend activities before Friday evening. Running out of money on Sunday meant waiting until Monday morning. Post offices observed Sunday closures strictly, though mail delivery might continue on Sunday mornings in some communities. But post office lobby hours, postal services, and mail pickup were suspended from Saturday evening until Monday morning. Letters and packages waited an extra day for processing. Hardware stores closing on Sundays affected weekend home improvement projects. Men who discovered missing screws or broken tools during Saturday morning projects would have to wait until Monday to purchase replacements, or borrow from neighbors, or postpone their work until the following weekend. Fabric stores and craft shops closed on Sundays, affecting women's sewing projects and hobby activities. A discovered shortage of thread or buttons during weekend sewing sessions meant either improvising with available supplies or setting the project aside until Monday shopping became possible. Bookstores and magazine stands closed on Sundays, creating a weekly gap in reading material acquisition. People who finished their current book on Sunday afternoon might need to reread something or visit the library during limited Sunday hours. Impulse reading purchases were impossible on Sundays. Shoe repair shops, dry cleaners, and similar service businesses observed Sunday closures religiously. Clothes that needed pressing for Sunday church services had to be prepared by Saturday. Shoes that required repair had to be dropped off early in the week to ensure Saturday pickup. Sunday morning church services occurred in commercial districts that were otherwise completely quiet. The contrast was striking. Hundreds of people gathering for worship while surrounded by empty stores and vacant parking lots. Churches provided the only significant Sunday morning activity in business districts. After church Sunday activities were limited by store closures, families might drive through commercial areas but couldn't browse or shop. Sunday afternoon entertainment required advanced planning since spontaneous shopping trips were impossible. Parks, libraries with Sunday hours, and home-based activities filled the time. Sunday newspaper reading gained special importance partly because stores were closed. Families would spend more time with Sunday papers since shopping expeditions weren't possible. Newspaper browsing, crossword puzzles, and reading became more prominent Sunday activities when commercial alternatives were unavailable. Library Sunday hours varied by community, with some libraries remaining closed while others offered limited afternoon hours. Libraries that did open on Sundays often became important community gathering places since they provided one of the few public spaces available for Sunday activities. Sunday driving gained popularity partly because it was one of the few activities that remained available when stores were closed. Families would take scenic drives, visit distant relatives, or explore countryside areas, since shopping districts were unavailable. The automobile provided entertainment that didn't require commercial establishments. Cemetery visits often occurred on Sundays, since they were among the few places that remained accessible when businesses were closed. Sunday afternoon, cemetery visits became family traditions, partly because they were activities that could be pursued when commercial alternatives were unavailable. Children's birthday parties on Sundays required advanced planning since party supplies, ice cream, and other necessities couldn't be purchased on the day of the party. Parents learned to shop for Sunday celebrations by Saturday afternoon, ensuring that everything needed was available before stores closed. Sunday emergencies involving household needs created genuine problems. A broken water pipe, a failing refrigerator, or a heating system problem on Sunday might require waiting until Monday for repair parts. Emergency repair services might provide labor, but replacement parts often couldn't be obtained until Monday morning. Visiting relatives on Sundays sometimes involved giving complications when stores were closed. Families traveling to Sunday dinners at relatives' homes couldn't stop to purchase flowers, wine, or dessert contributions on their way. Such purchases required Saturday preparation or doing without. Sunday wedding receptions faced limitations due to store closures. Last-minute wedding supplies, forgotten decorations, or additional food items couldn't be purchased on Sunday. Wedding planners learned to anticipate every need by Saturday, since Sunday shopping was impossible. Regional variations in Sunday closing laws created different experiences for travelers. A family driving from a community with strict Sunday closures might encounter open stores in another community, or vice versa. These variations created confusion and required local knowledge about Sunday commercial availability. Tourist areas often received exceptions to Sunday closing laws, recognizing that visitors needed access to restaurants, gas stations, and basic supplies 7 days a week. But even in tourist communities, many general retail stores remain closed on Sundays, creating a mixed commercial environment. Military base exchanges and commissaries typically remained closed on Sundays, affecting military families' shopping routines. Just like civilian families, military personnel learned to complete their shopping by Saturday, planning meals and activities around the unavailability of base retail services on Sundays. Collegetown businesses faced pressure to remain open on Sundays since students needed access to food, laundry services, and basic supplies 7 days a week. But many college communities maintained Sunday closures, requiring students to adapt their schedules to community-wide commercial patterns. Seasonal variations affected Sunday closing customs, with some communities relaxing restrictions during summer tourist seasons while maintaining them during regular months. These variations created temporary changes in community rhythm that residents learned to anticipate and plan around. Sunday morning newspaper delivery often provided the only commercial activity in otherwise quiet business districts. Newsboys on bicycles would be the only people conducting business transactions in downtown areas that would remain otherwise empty until Monday morning. Barbershops and beauty salons closed on Sundays, requiring people to schedule haircuts and styling appointments during the week or on Saturdays. Men's haircuts especially required advanced planning since most barbershops observed both Sunday and Monday closures, creating 2-day periods without haircutting services. Movie theaters presented another area of variation in Sunday closing laws. Some communities prohibited Sunday movie screenings during church hours, but allowed afternoon and evening showings. Others banned Sunday movies entirely, while still others allowed normal Sunday movie schedules. Sunday picnics gained popularity, partly because outdoor activities didn't require commercial services that were unavailable on Sundays. Parks, beaches, and countryside areas provided entertainment that didn't depend on retail establishments. Picnic supplies had to be purchased by Saturday, creating advanced planning for Sunday outdoor activities. Automobile repairs became impossible on Sundays, when service stations and parts stores were closed. A car breakdown on Sunday might require waiting until Monday for professional repair services. Emergency road service might provide towing, but actual repairs often waited until Monday morning. Specialty food stores, delicatessens, bakeries, butcher shops typically observed Sunday closures strictly. Families who wanted special Sunday dinner items had to purchase them by Saturday. Fresh bread for Sunday breakfast required Saturday bakery visits, or doing without fresh, baked goods. Florists closed on Sundays, except during major holidays, when funeral and wedding needs might override normal closing customs. Sunday flower purchases for home decoration, gifts, or church services required Saturday shopping. Many families learned to make their own Sunday flower arrangements from garden flowers. Jewelry stores observed Sunday closures religiously, affecting last-minute gift purchases and emergency jewelry repairs. Wedding rings lost or damaged on Saturday night couldn't be replaced or repaired until Monday. Anniversary and birthday gifts required advance planning to avoid Sunday shopping impossibilities. Appliance stores closing on Sundays meant that failing refrigerators, washing machines, or other household equipment couldn't be replaced on Sundays. Families learned to monitor appliance conditions carefully, understanding that Sunday appliance failures might require temporary improvisation until Monday shopping became possible. Sunday morning radio programming adapted to the reality of closed stores, focusing on music, religious programming, and entertainment, rather than commercial advertising. Radio commercials on Sunday mornings promoted Monday sales events or upcoming business openings, rather than immediate shopping opportunities. Photography stores and camera shops closed on Sundays, affecting weekend photography activities. Film processing, camera repairs, and photography supply purchases required weekday or Saturday visits. Amateur photographers learned to anticipate their film and supply needs before weekend photography sessions. Sporting goods stores closed on Sundays despite weekend sports activities, creating demand for equipment and supplies. Saturday afternoon and evening became crucial shopping times for weekend sports participants who needed last-minute equipment purchases or repairs. Sunday morning, mail delivery continued in many communities, even though post offices were closed, creating the unusual situation of mail being delivered to businesses that were closed to receive it. Business mail would accumulate at closed stores throughout Sunday, waiting for Monday morning attention. Antique stores and second-hand shops typically observed Sunday closures, affecting weekend browsing activities that were popular forms of entertainment. Antique hunting and thrift shopping had to be scheduled for Saturday hours, creating compressed shopping activity in these specialty retail areas. Pet stores closed on Sundays, affecting emergency pet supply needs and weekend pet purchases. Pet food shortages discovered on Sunday morning required borrowing from neighbors or waiting until Monday. Emergency pet medical needs might be addressed by veterinarians, but pet supplies remained unavailable. Toy stores closed on Sundays, creating frustration for children who wanted immediate gratification for toy desires that arose during weekend play. Broken toys couldn't be immediately replaced on Sundays. Birthday party gifts for Sunday celebrations required Saturday shopping completion. Garden centers and nurseries typically closed on Sundays, despite weekend gardening activities creating demand for plants, seeds, and garden supplies. Weekend gardeners learned to anticipate their needs by Saturday or postpone gardening projects until Monday supply purchases became possible. Building supply stores closed on Sundays, affecting weekend construction and home improvement projects. Lumber, nails, paint, and other construction supplies couldn't be purchased on Sundays. Weekend building projects required complete advance planning to avoid work stoppages due to missing supplies. Sunday church services created the largest gathering of people in commercial districts that were otherwise empty. The contrast was remarkable. Parking lots full of church attendees surrounded by closed businesses. Churches provided community focus when commercial attractions were unavailable. Drugstores in smaller communities often remained completely closed on Sundays, while larger communities might allow limited Sunday hours for prescription emergencies. But general merchandise sections of drugstores, cosmetics, greeting cards, magazines typically remained unavailable even when prescription counters opened briefly. Sunday afternoon visiting patterns among families and friends developed partly because commercial entertainment options were limited. People would visit relatives, friends, and neighbors since shopping, movies, and other commercial activities were largely unavailable. Social visiting gained importance on Sundays. Sunday evening, meal preparation required Saturday food shopping since grocery stores were closed. Families planning elaborate Sunday dinners had to complete all food purchases by Saturday evening. Running out of ingredients during Sunday cooking meant improvising or borrowing from neighbors. Children's Sunday spending money remained unspent since candy stores, toy shops, and other child-oriented businesses were closed. Children learned to save their allowances from Sunday until Monday, developing patience around immediate consumption desires and learning to delay gratification. Hospital gift shops might remain open on Sundays to serve visiting families, creating exceptions to general retail closure patterns. But these hospital shops typically offered limited selections focused on patient needs rather than general merchandise shopping opportunities. Sunday morning household emergencies, burned-out light bulbs, broken dishes, depleted cleaning supplies, couldn't be immediately resolved through shopping. Families learned to maintain adequate supplies of essential household items, anticipating that Sunday emergencies would require temporary solutions until Monday shopping. Airport shops and services often remained open on Sundays to serve traveler needs, creating islands of commercial activity in communities where other businesses were closed. But even airport shops might offer reduced services or limited hours compared to weekday operations. Sunday wedding ceremonies created complications when stores were closed, and last, minute wedding needs arose. Forgotten wedding supplies, emergency clothing repairs, or additional floral needs couldn't be addressed through Sunday shopping. Wedding planners learned to anticipate every possible need by Saturday. Professional photography for Sunday weddings and other events had to be planned completely by Saturday, since photography supply stores were closed on Sundays. Professional photographers maintained larger inventories of film, flash bulbs, and other supplies to accommodate Sunday events without access to supply stores. Sunday morning breakfast routines changed when bakeries were closed and fresh bread, pastries, and other baked goods were unavailable. Families either purchased Saturday baked goods and stored them overnight, or prepared home, baked Sunday breakfast items, or modified their Sunday morning meal patterns. Sunday afternoon entertainment for children required advance planning since toy stores, bookstores, and other child-oriented retail establishments were closed. Parents learned to maintain adequate supplies of books, games, and activities at home, or rely on outdoor activities that didn't require commercial purchases. Fishing and hunting activities on Sundays were affected by sporting goods store closures. Emergency equipment, repairs, replacement supplies, and bait purchases were impossible on Sundays. Outdoor enthusiasts learned to prepare completely for Sunday activities by Saturday, anticipating all possible equipment and supply needs. Sunday farm work continued despite store closures, but emergency supply needs created problems for farmers. Broken equipment parts, emergency feed supplies, or unexpected veterinary needs on Sundays might require improvisation until Monday morning when agricultural supply stores reopened. Small appliance repairs, toasters, irons, radios, were impossible on Sundays when appliance repair shops were closed. Families learned to anticipate appliance problems and schedule repairs during weekday hours, understanding that Sunday appliance failures might require temporary substitutions. Sunday afternoon card games and board games gained popularity, partly because commercial entertainment alternatives were limited. Families invested in larger collections of home games and activities, anticipating Sunday afternoons when outside entertainment options were unavailable. Automobile accessories and parts stores closed on Sundays, affecting weekend car maintenance and improvement projects. Car enthusiasts learned to purchase all necessary parts and supplies by Saturday, or postpone automotive projects until Monday shopping became possible. Sunday morning, church clothing, emergencies, missing buttons, tears, stains, couldn't be resolved through shopping since clothing stores and dry cleaners were closed. Families learned to prepare church clothes by Saturday evening, checking for any repairs or cleaning needs before Sunday morning. Hotel and motel restaurants often remained open on Sundays to serve guests, but these dining options were typically limited to registered guests rather than general public dining. Sunday restaurant options in many communities were severely limited, affecting family dining patterns and social activities. Sunday birthday parties required complete advance planning since party supply stores, bakeries, and ice cream shops were typically closed. Parents learned to purchase all party needs by Saturday, including special birthday cakes that had to be ordered in advance from Saturday, closing bakeries. Hardware store closures on Sundays affected weekend household repair projects. Broken plumbing fixtures, electrical problems, or other household emergencies on Sundays might require temporary solutions until Monday morning when hardware stores reopened and proper repair supplies became available. Sunday morning newspaper reading gained extended importance, partly because alternative commercial activities were unavailable. Families spent more time with Sunday newspapers, reading more thoroughly and discussing articles more extensively since shopping expeditions and other commercial activities were impossible. Fabric store closures affected weekend sewing projects and craft activities. Seamstresses who discovered missing supplies during Sunday sewing sessions had to improvise with available materials or postpone projects until Monday fabric purchases became possible. Home sewing activities required complete advance planning. Sunday evening meal planning was affected by grocery store closures, requiring families to anticipate Sunday dinner needs during Saturday shopping trips. Spontaneous Sunday cooking projects were impossible if they required ingredients not already available at home. Children's art and craft projects on Sundays were limited by art supply store closures. Missing construction paper, glue, paint, or other craft supplies couldn't be replaced on Sundays. Family craft activities required advanced supply planning, or children learned to improvise with available household materials. Sunday morning coffee shop closures in many communities eliminated popular weekend social gathering spots. Coffee shops that were centers of Saturday morning social activity would be closed on Sundays, reducing opportunities for informal community socializing and creating quieter commercial districts. Sunday afternoon, driving activities gained popularity, partly because they didn't require access to closed commercial establishments. Scenic drives, visits to state parks, and countryside exploration provided entertainment that remained available when shopping and other commercial activities were impossible. Barber shop closures on Sundays affected men's grooming schedules, requiring haircut appointments to be scheduled during weekday or Saturday hours. Men learned to maintain their haircuts carefully between appointments, understanding that Sunday grooming emergencies couldn't be professionally addressed. Sunday picnic activities required Saturday food shopping since grocery stores and delicatessens were closed. Picnic planning required advance preparation, with all food items purchased by Saturday afternoon. Forgotten picnic supplies couldn't be obtained on Sunday morning before departure. Office supply stores closed on Sundays, affecting weekend work projects and student study activities. Emergency school supply needs, office equipment repairs, or last-minute work project materials couldn't be obtained on Sundays. Students and workers learned to anticipate their supply needs. Sunday morning flower garden activities were affected by garden center closures. Emergency plant replacements, additional garden supplies, or plant care products couldn't be purchased on Sundays. Gardeners learned to maintain adequate supplies of fertilizers, pesticides, and garden tools. Camera shop closures affected weekend photography activities. Film processing, camera repairs, and photography supply purchases were impossible on Sundays. Amateur photographers learned to maintain adequate film supplies and anticipate equipment needs before weekend photography sessions. Sunday evening entertainment planning required advance ticket purchases since most box offices were closed on Sundays. Monday evening entertainment required Sunday planning without the ability to purchase tickets on the day of desired attendance. Entertainment planning became more deliberate and advance-oriented. Sunday morning laundromat operations varied by community, with some laundromats remaining open while others closed in observance of Sunday restrictions. Families relying on public laundry facilities had to plan their washing schedules around uncertain Sunday laundromat availability. Bookstore closures on Sundays affected weekend reading material acquisition. Readers who finished books on Sunday afternoon couldn't immediately purchase new reading material. Sunday reading required advance book purchases or reliance on home libraries and personal book collections. Sunday morning restaurant breakfast options were severely limited in many communities, affecting family breakfast traditions and social breakfast activities. Hotel restaurants might serve registered guests, but public breakfast dining options were often completely unavailable on Sunday mornings. Fresh market closures on Sundays affected families who preferred to purchase fresh produce frequently rather than storing it for extended periods. Sunday cooking that required fresh vegetables or fruits required Saturday market shopping, with families learning to store fresh produce properly overnight. Sunday afternoon visiting patterns among extended families developed partly because commercial entertainment options were limited. Grandparent visits, cousin gatherings, and family reunions became prominent Sunday activities since shopping, movies, and other commercial activities were largely unavailable. Musical instrument store closures affected weekend music activities. Emergency instrument repairs, replacement strings, sheet music purchases, or music lesson materials couldn't be obtained on Sundays. Musicians learned to maintain their instruments carefully and anticipate supply needs. Sunday morning newspaper delivery continued in business districts where all other commercial activity was suspended, creating the unusual sight of newspaper trucks and delivery personnel in otherwise completely quiet commercial areas. Newspapers provided the only Sunday morning business activity. Shoe store closures affected Sunday morning church dressing emergencies, when shoes needed emergency repairs or replacements. broken shoe straps, lost shoes, or other Sunday morning shoe emergencies couldn't be resolved through shopping. Families learned to prepare complete church outfits by Saturday evening. Sunday evening grocery needs couldn't be satisfied through shopping, requiring families to plan complete weekend meal preparation during Saturday grocery shopping trips. Sunday evening cooking required using only ingredients already available at home or borrowing from neighbors. Art supply store closures affected weekend art projects and children's creative activities. Missing art materials, paints, brushes, canvas, construction paper, couldn't be replaced on Sundays. Family art activities required advanced supply planning or creative improvisation with household materials. Sunday morning dry cleaner closures meant that clothing requiring professional cleaning couldn't be retrieved on Sundays. Church clothes, work clothes, or special occasion clothing had to be collected by Saturday if needed for Sunday wear. Clothing care required advanced planning. Sunday afternoon game activities, card games, board games, outdoor games, gained prominence partly because commercial entertainment alternatives were limited. Families invested in larger collections of games and sporting equipment, anticipating Sunday entertainment needs when commercial options were unavailable. Sunday evening meal preparation was complicated by restaurant closures requiring families to prepare home meals, even when they might prefer dining out. Sunday dining became primarily home-based activity, affecting family cooking patterns and meal planning strategies. Stationery store closures affected Sunday correspondence activities. Letter writing supplies, greeting cards, or postage purchases were impossible on Sundays. Sunday letter writing required advanced supply preparation, or families learned to maintain adequate stationery supplies at home. Sunday morning, gift wrap emergencies, forgotten birthdays, unexpected visits couldn't be resolved through shopping since gift wrap and card stores were closed. Gift giving required advanced preparation, with wrapping supplies maintained at home for unexpected Sunday gift needs. Watch repair shop closures meant that broken watches or clocks couldn't be repaired on Sundays. Sunday morning time. Keeping emergencies required temporary solutions, borrowing clocks, using kitchen timers, or estimating time, until Monday morning professional repairs became available. Sunday afternoon book reading gained extended importance because bookstores were closed and new reading material couldn't be acquired. Families maintained larger home libraries, anticipating Sunday reading needs when commercial book purchasing was impossible. Candle shop and religious goods store closures affected Sunday church activities and home religious observances. Emergency candle needs, religious book purchases, or church supply needs couldn't be satisfied through Sunday shopping. Religious activities required advanced preparation. Sunday morning car wash services were typically unavailable, affecting weekend automobile care routines. Car cleaning had to be accomplished on Saturdays, or family members learned to wash automobiles at home using household supplies and garden hoses. Ice cream shop closures on Sundays disappointed children who associated weekend treats with ice cream purchases. Sunday afternoon, ice cream desires had to be satisfied with home-made treats, or children learned to anticipate ice cream purchases during Saturday shopping trips. Sunday evening, party supply emergencies couldn't be resolved through shopping since party supply stores were closed. Last-minute party needs, decorations, paper goods, party favors, required advance Saturday shopping or improvisation with household materials. Pharmacy closures on Sundays created genuine medical supply problems for families with ongoing health needs. Prescription refills, first Aid supplies or emergency medical needs might require waiting until Monday, borrowing from neighbors, or seeking emergency medical services. Sunday morning, beauty parlor closures affected women's hair, styling for church services and social activities. Hairstyling had to be completed on Saturdays, or women learned to manage their hairstyling at home for Sunday appearances. Clock repair shop closures meant that household timepiece problems couldn't be professionally addressed on Sundays. Broken alarm clocks, stopped wall clocks, or malfunctioning timepieces required temporary solutions until Monday morning professional services became available. Sunday afternoon, hobby activities were affected by hobby shop closures. Model building supplies, craft materials, collecting accessories, or hobby equipment couldn't be purchased on Sundays. Hobby enthusiasts learned to maintain adequate supplies for weekend activities. Sunday morning appliance emergencies, broken toasters, failed coffee makers, malfunctioning kitchen equipment couldn't be immediately resolved through appliance store shopping. Emergency appliance needs required improvisation, borrowing, or temporary substitution until Monday shopping. Paint store closures affected weekend home improvement projects. Emergency paint needs, brush replacements, or color matching services were unavailable on Sundays. Home improvement projects required complete advance planning to avoid work stoppages due to missing paint supplies. Sunday evening clothing emergencies, torn garments, missing buttons, stains, couldn't be resolved through clothing store shopping. Emergency clothing needs required home repairs, borrowing, or wardrobe substitutions, since retail clothing purchases were impossible. Record shop closures affected weekend music purchasing and entertainment planning. New music discoveries, replacement records, or music gift purchases were impossible on Sundays. Music lovers learned to anticipate their music needs during Saturday shopping trips. Sunday morning, kitchenware emergencies, broken dishes, lost utensils, failed appliances couldn't be immediately resolved through shopping. Kitchen emergencies required improvisation with available equipment, borrowing from neighbors, or temporary substitutions until Monday shopping. Sporting goods closures affected weekend sports activities and equipment needs. Emergency sports equipment repairs, replacement supplies, or new equipment purchases were impossible on Sundays. Sports participants learned to maintain and anticipate their equipment needs carefully. Sunday afternoon, reading materials for children couldn't be supplemented through bookstore or magazine purchases. Children's Sunday reading required advance book purchases, library visits during available hours, or reliance on home collections of children's books and magazines. Sunday evening entertainment planning couldn't include last-minute ticket purchases or entertainment supply shopping. Entertainment activities required advance planning and preparation since commercial entertainment services and supplies were largely unavailable on Sundays.